everyone, this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS Creative card video. In this video, I will show you how to make this fun background using the Karin markers and some water. And we're going to use Float Your Boat stamp set. So this is 4x8 stamp set and it comes with coordinating dies. I will use the little girl in the boat and the girl with the water skis. Also, we're going to use the sentiment that's on the bottom, says happiness comes in waves. So let's get started. So by magic of YouTube, I already stamped and die cut the images that I will use for my card, and I use the Raven hybrid ink to stamp those. I'll use alcohol-based markers to color them. So the Raven hybrid ink is waterproof. Also, you can use it with watercolor pencils, pens, markers, or just plain like traditional watercolors, and you can use it also with alcohol-based markers. So I'll have a landscape card instead of my usual horizontal ones like portrait. And since I'm using those two images and they fit better when we have the card in landscape. So here's my box of the markers. I'll use 3 shades of blue, or more like kind of aqua blue, and I have a spray bottle. I'm using non-porous surface here. I have a silicone mat. You can use any non-porous surface you have. I have also underneath the glass mat, you can use glass mat, but since it's black, I wasn't sure how that would work for me, not being able to see the color. So here, as you can see, I'm scribbling all those 3 shades of blue onto the mat, and I'm spraying with water, and then I'm just smooshing this piece of watercolor paper in it. I'll use heat tool to set that. So if you want more subtle background, kind of everything blended nicely, you can just let it dry naturally. But I wanted to add more, kind of create that splash effect. So I'm drying it with my heat tool and then dipping it back into that mat with the color. So you can see we created some kind of splatters here. I'm repeating the process until I'm satisfied with the look. So I'm just heat setting it, and if I have like little pools of water, I'm using a microfiber tool, or you can use paper towel or anything you have to just wipe that off. So now I'm adding 2 of the darker colors, spraying it with water and repeating the process. I'm kind of adding more onto the right side of the mat, so that will be the left side of my background. I have the background now upside down, but you can use any way you want it. It's up to you. So now for the end, I just wanted to add a little bit more lighter blue. So just splash that, scribbled some marker on my mat, splattered with water, like spritz with water, and smoosh my background. So I think that I like the background as it is right now. I will let it dry. In the meantime, just cleaning my mat. I'll trim my background down to 4 by 5¼ inches. Since we're gonna mat it on, put it on an A4 card. I just wanted a little white border around the edges. So I'm just trying to see how everything will fit before I start coloring my images. So I think that looks good. I'll set my background. I put some acrylic blocks so it flattens out. Since I was using watercolor and plenty of water, it kind of got a little bit warped, but it will dry flat there. So next, let's move on to coloring the images. I'm just doing some basic coloring, basic blending using alcohol-based markers. So I'm gonna speed up the process here so you're not bored watching me color for 30 minutes or so. Again, as I said, I'm just doing some basic coloring. I'm using 2 to 3 colors to blend it, create that blended effect. Just coloring the little girls, and we're almost done here. So if you can see, like I added little white dots with white gel pen on the swimsuit. We're gonna add some more highlights once we're done coloring using white gel pen. I'm just finishing it here. Just adding more into that windshield of the boat. And now I'm using the white gel pen to add some highlights. So now next we can adhere the images to our background. I'm using some foam squares to add a little bit more dimension. So I'm just going to trim this large foam square into little strips so it fits on the water skis. And then for the little rope, I'm using some liquid glue. I'm just trying to make sure that that's at the right spot there. And we have our scene created. So the next is just to stamp the sentiment, and I'm using a stamp positioning tool to stamp that, and I'll use the Raven hybrid ink to stamp the sentiment also. So I'm just making sure that it's nice and straight, inking that sentiment up. So next I'll use my paper trimmer to cut that sentiment into a strip. I apologize here, I'm a little bit off the camera, but I was just trimming the ends. Again, I'm using foam tape on the back of the sentiment, and I'm using a T-ruler to make sure that it's parallel with the bottom of my card. So now again I'm using foam tape to cover. Since I used watercolor paper and it warped a little bit, I decided to cover the entire back using that foam tape. And I'm using white card base. So I'll just remove the foam tape and adhere that watercolor panel onto my white card base. And that will finish our card. So here's a little close-up of the card. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to LDRS Creative YouTube channel. Also visit the LDRS Creative blog for more ideas and inspiration. Thanks you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye!